The wait is finally over. The Storm Phase 2 Pearl has officially been announced after a lot of leaks. There's a lot of bad leaks about it. I don't know if they're on purpose or not, but anyways, we knew about this ball for a while. The Phase 2 Pearl is officially here. This is a true remake of the Phase 2 with a Pearl slightly stronger cover stock. We're going to answer a lot of questions about this ball. Why is it coming out? What are the comparisons looking like? How is this different than the Phaze AI, the Phase 4, and the Phase 5? Where does it fit in your bag? Who does it fit for? And so much more. First of all, I need to give the biggest shout out to Storm Bowling and Bowling.com. They were able to work out some deals to be able to get me this Phase 2 Pearl early so I can get you guys a review as soon as possible. Massive shout out to those guys. Make sure to go check out Bowling.com for all of your latest and greatest bowling needs and to go pick up this Phase 2 Pearl if you're thinking about grabbing it. Also, make sure to like and subscribe. That way we can help try to push this, try to get more reviews to you guys and more in-depth information to you, the bowler. But let's talk about the P2P. The Phase 2 Pearl has the exact same core as the Phase 2. No AI technology in this core. It is that true Phase 2 velocity core. For anyone who isn't aware, 2.48 RG, 051 differential. These are some of the most glorious numbers ever created because the Phase 2 is one of the best balls ever made. So this has the same exact core as it. The cover stock of this ball, same formula as the original. It is TX25 Pearl. The original Phase 2 had TX16, so it's the same formula, but it is stronger than what was the TX16. What bowlers have found and Storm has found is that original cover stock made in 2016 isn't really making the cut anymore. It's just a little bit too weak for what they're looking for because it's been 9 years. It's been a long time since that ball came out. So now Storm buffed it up a little bit to try to remake that Phase 2 look and feel. They kept the same exact colors as well, slightly different color in the logo, but otherwise nearly identical. What you're seeing on the screen right now is seeing that this Phase 2 Pearl rolls very similar to the Phase 2. I am arguably the largest fanboy for the Phase 2. That is my favorite ball of all time. It has come with to nearly every single tournament I've bowled for at least 5 years now since I drilled my first one. And this ball rolls identical to the Phase 2 in terms of down lane motion. It hooks later and it's quicker because of that Pearl additive. But overall, it actually makes that Phase 2 motion. The biggest problem with the old phases, the Phase 3, 4, 5, and AI, the biggest issue is they don't roll like a Phase 2. They have the same core, but the cover of them never matches up. I was a big fan of the Phase 3. I'm one of 3 people in the world who like the Phase 3. But the problem is that ball didn't roll like a Phase. It rolled very slow, very chuggy, very just tumbly towards the pins. The Phase 4 and 5, while they were more like a Phase, they had that super weak R2S Pearl cover stock on them. So that made them weirdly weak in terms of that core. So the core wanted to hook, but the cover didn't. They were still fine, but unfortunately, they just weren't up to snuff for a lot of people. Phaze AI was the right idea. It had that TX16, that weaker cover, but the AI tech in that ball made the core want to hook so early and be so forward. You're going to see a little bit of that ball in this comparison, but you can see night and day difference in terms of their ball motion down lane. The review you're watching is going to be split up into 2 different parts. I actually threw this in 2 different occasions because I wanted the most games possible on this ball. The first one, I compared the ball to the 900 Global Viking, and I compare it to the original Phaze AI. And you're going to see the Viking is just earlier. It's just stronger, which makes sense. It's an asymmetrical ball. It's a hybrid. It wants to hook earlier. It has a good down lane motion yet, but it's earlier. And I should preface, this is on the Spare Time Entertainment House Shot in Owatonna, Minnesota. There's maybe a couple games on it before I got onto it, so it's fresh slash very slightly transitioned. I have that down below my head if you want to scroll back in the video to see what the actual lane chart looks like. But I split it up. That first one, ball rolled really cool. It was awesome. It blended the wet dry way better than I would have expected. Honestly, this ball kind of reminds me of like a slightly rounder Zen, which is a crazy comparison because the Zen was awesome for being able to blend wet dry but still being a Pearl option. This Phase 2 Pearl kind of does the same thing, which is pretty cool. Now, that's very high regards because the Zen is one of the greatest Pearls that the Storm lineup has ever made. But this ball gives me similar vibes to it. I don't think it's as similar to the Zen 25. The Zen 25 was a little quicker when it saw friction, but the original Zen wasn't as quick. So I'm seeing a few similarities there. Now, the second part of this comparison, we end up throwing it same exact shot, probably a little different transition. You're going to see me playing a little further right, but you're going to see the Rockstar Amped, the original Rockstar, and my old Phase 2 against the Phase 2 Pearl. I didn't want to throw the new Phase 2 because that thing hooks way earlier and is way smoother down lane, but the old Phase 2 gives a very similar motion to this guy. Along with that, I should preface my Rockstar is at 3,000 grit. That is arguably my MVP right now, and you're going to see similarities between the Phase 2 Pearl and the Rockstar as well. You're going to see them be able to play off of each other well. But the biggest comparison we have is what is the difference between the Rockstar Amped and the Phase 2 Pearl? This is a tough one. I had to go back and forth a lot to figure out what the differences are, but I think I have my thumb on it now. The Rockstar Amped is overall just going to be quicker when it sees friction. It just wants to be sharper than the Phase 2 Pearl. So there was a couple clips in here where the Rockstar Amped ends up leaving a 3.610. What I noticed is that when I threw very similar shots with the Phase 2 Pearl when that Rockstar started to hook, the Phase 2 Pearl didn't. It rounded and arced off of the friction a lot better than that Rockstar Amped does. I also noticed when there was a little bit more mid lane friction, when like around 30 to 40 feet, the ball started hooking, the Rockstar really picked up on that and wanted to go sideways. The Phase 2 Pearl, you could tell it hit that friction, but it didn't hook. It stayed continuing that way and then arced. So it lost some energy, but it didn't completely want to boomerang off of that spot. That's really unique and really interesting for a ball. So I'm very excited to throw this thing on more sport shot situations when the front to back matters so much more. Let's talk about some other comparisons for this bowling ball. So some other things you can compare it to. I mentioned the Zen 25. I mentioned the Rockstar Amped. I mentioned the Phaze AI. The Ember overall is just weaker. It's just weaker and quicker overall. So make sure to use our storm categorization guides to be able to determine where this ball like compares in the storm lineup. But let's go to other brands. We go against some of the Brunswick balls. This one really doesn't have too much of a comparison. I think the No Doubt Solid is probably the closest comparison in the Brunswick lineup. That No Doubt Solid, though, just wants to be so much quicker down lane, and that's just Brunswick's MO right now. A lot of their cover stocks just want to hook on friction. However, this Phase 2 Pearl really doesn't want to. It wants to round off of it and be able to still hit the pocket. So I think if you're a sport shot bowler, that's where this Phase 2 Pearl is going to be a little better, just like the original Phase 2. If you bowl sport shots, that ball is an awesome ball to have in your bag. One of the best, in my opinion. So I think that this Phase 2 Pearl kind of picks up where that Phase 2 left off compared to what something like the No Doubt Solid does or like a Primal Rage or something, because Motive has nothing in this spot at all. There is zero that is close to the Phase 2 Pearl. The Primal Rage Evolution and the Nebula are both weaker and a heck of a lot quicker on friction. But then if you go up to like an Evoke Hysteria or a Steel Forge, those are much earlier and stronger than a Phase 2 Pearl. Let's end the video with who's going to like this ball best. I think this is going to be a very versatile ball, and I don't want to sound like your stereotypical ball reviewer where like, this ball fits everybody, buy 3 of them. That's not what we do here. But overall, this ball is really good when playing straighter. If you're somebody who likes to play straighter on the lane, you don't need a weak bowling ball, but you still need something with some flair that hooks. This Phase 2 Pearl is going to be a good option for you. This is going to be one you can play up 10 a little bit better, and it's not going to overhook on the friction. It's still going to be able to blend that wet dry. If you're somebody that wants to play super deep on the lane, I think a Rockstar Amped might be a little better for you because that's going to be able to be a lot more angular compared to what that one is. If you're someone who likes the Phase 2, I think this is going to be a really great option for you if you haven't picked up the Rockstar Amped already. This one, like I said, is too close to the Rockstar Amped in a lot of ways where I don't think both of them need to be in the same bag, unfortunately. Because I love that Amped. I think that's a fantastic ball, but I think you only need one or the other in this case. Now, if you're somebody who is a little bit slower speed and you spin the ball a lot more, that's where this Phase 2 Pearl is good as well. Spinning this one was really, really good from deeper. They seemed like hand position wasn't as crazy impactful as it is on other bowling balls. Sometimes when you spin the ball a lot more versus when you're more up the back of it, changing, that ball roll from end over end to sideways, a ball can be night and day different. This Phase 2 Pearl really isn't. It seems more forgiving on those hand position changes compared to some other balls on the market. But overall, that is everything I have on the Storm Phase 2 Pearl. I am very excited for this ball, and I don't want to be like a typical ball reviewer, but this ball does look pretty sweet right now. I am very excited to bring this out on Sport Shots. I will have updates for you in our typical weekly live streams on how this ball does on tougher conditions and on different house shots as well. I want to get a lot of play testing with this ball over the next couple of weeks to be able to give you guys the best information possible. This ball does release on Black Friday, November 28th for $175 at bowling.com. So make sure to go check them out. Again, huge thank you to them and Storm for sending me this ball for free. Really, really appreciate that. Make sure your ball reviewer tells you where their bowling balls are from so you know that they are getting them for free from different places, by the way. Make sure to keep that in mind. But thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you guys watching the video. If you guys enjoy these reviews, please let me know in the comments. We're still getting our feet wet in the review game, so any feedback is greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much. I will see you on the next one.